I have to start by saying, so my name is Colette Fraser, and I'm a part-time IDELLO liaison officer with an FSL specialist. I'm also, I've been teaching for about 20 years in the FSL domain, and I'm in Sudbury in Northern Ontario. And so I'm still working with my board, which is the Sudbury Catholic Board. So I'm really pleased to be here with you this evening, and I find it absolutely admirable that there's a pretty big group of you here. Um, After you've spent your day online, I'm sure this is the last thing you want to do. Um, and yet I'm finding it, just the fact that you're here shows the amount of support that you have for your children and in wanting to support their French as a second language or additional language journey. So thank you very much for being here. And I'm going to share, well, you can see my screen, but I will be, so my purpose tonight is sort of sharing some of the resources that are available. I'm going to start the actual slideshow so that you can see a little bit bigger.
Yep.
And so I'm going to be traveling between my slide deck and going into the actual site so that you see some of the resources. And Elaine is going to be sort of manning the chat. So if you do have questions and they're urgent and you really want to ask them right away, don't hesitate to put them in the chat. Because we're 16, a little bit more difficult to have open mic for everyone. I will try and stop myself halfway through and allow for those questions. And of course, I want to leave us some time at the end as well. So do not hesitate to participate. So here's the overview of where I want to go this evening. I kind of want to give you an idea of what IDELLO is. Discovers a particular project because originally IDELLO was set up for French as a first language. And it's about in the last 12 to 15 years, thanks to Canadian Parents for French, who really pushed for a lot of it, a lot of the resources have been developed more particularly for French as a second language. And so there are resources for the teachers, and there are some parent guides and that are in English that I'll highlight for you as well. And just kind of tell you about how you can use IDELLO with your children and some resources of interest. And really what IDELLO is a digital platform, and now we're at 15,000 resources, and they're all certified. They have been developed by experts, and they're accessible to all teachers in Ontario school boards for free, and now to parents for free, because once upon a time we used to ask for a membership. It enables you to guide and accompany your children in their learning. And there's classification and filters through age groups and levels and types of resources. And you can see the list there of different possibilities of the types of resources that we have. I just want to highlight the importance of, in any way, shape, or form, every night, if you can, or whenever the opportunity presents itself, because I know you all have busy lives, to just expose your child to hearing some French on a regular basis. If it's that, oh, c'est le 20 minutes, it's the 20 minutes of French for now. And so a lot of the resources that I'm going to be sharing with you are allowing you to do exactly that. You're not expected to teach your child. There's some of these, the guides that help you have discussion about some of the resources so that your child can sort of go a little bit deeper in their comprehension. But the bottom line is that you just want to be able to expose them to some français. And the more you do that, the more their proficiency, it can only get better. So that's just the message I wanted to sort of say before I get into any of it. Just wanted to highlight, and of course I'm preaching to the choir because you're here, because you're very fervent and you believe in second language acquisition. But there's a research that shows a lot of parents worry that their child, if they're in immersion, they might lag in their first language. So there is research out there that says it's unnecessary to master first language before learning a second. And developmentally, children are sponges. Their brain and their cognitive and their mental capacity is superior. The younger they are, the better it is that you can expose them to another language. Other point is that that second language acquisition supports the development of the first language skills. And there also has been research that states that when you're acquiring a language, it actually, I mean, it doesn't expand your brain, but it enhances your overall intelligence, so that it's working at more synapses in their brain and enhancing their skills overall. And that first language skills are not jeopardized by the second language learning. And that I put down there, it's Nancy Wise. Maybe you've heard of her. She did a research, and I'll make sure that you have access to that link if you would like to read further. It's just a comforting thing, because some kids, you know, will tend to lag at the beginning in both languages, but they normally catch up by the time they get to grade 3. So hang in there, be resilient, support them, and they will get there. So for those of you who don't have an account, I guess I should have maybe asked if you had one, but I'll go through this pretty quickly. I will also add and send to Hélène a document that repeats this process if you don't follow it all along. So it's very easy to create an account. So basically you go to the IDELLO.org/EN for the English version, /, and up in the right hand corner there's I know that's blurry, it says sign in, and you're going to be clicking on parent, and this is what it's going to look like. And you want to sign up when you first join. This side is for once you've already established your account. And I know that you're probably fed up with opening up accounts for educational purposes. The whole reasoning behind developing accounts, both for parents and teachers and children, is because of the fact that it's a secure environment. It's a secure platform. You can put your kids on the platform and never worry that there's going to be commercials that are inappropriate or that there's content that's inappropriate. And it is all, like I stated a while ago, it's aligned. It's been vetted by people in education, experts in education, and it is aligned with the curriculum. So there isn't that possibility of that wayward stuff happening. So that's why we ask for people to sign up and create an account. So back to how you do it. You click on that sign up piece on the right. It will ask you go through the personal information. It's pretty quick, pretty straightforward. It will also ask you to develop a username and a password, of course. Make it something that's easy and that's accessible to your children, so that if you don't want to always be sitting next to them to start them up every time, try and pick something that's familiar to them. Of course, I'm sure with all of this online learning, they're very familiar and they're getting more familiar. It's just a way for it to be accessible to them when, you know, maybe you're cooking dinner and you say, hey, go listen to 20 minutes of your French, kind of thing. You will then get an email and you just have to click on it to activate it. So that's all pretty straightforward. I'm going to go in a second once I go into the actual site, I'll just sort of review some of those anchors so that you see them in the actual site. So À l'Écoute, like I mentioned a while ago, is one of these programs that was developed for the French as a second language platform and for support for that. And within that program and that whole project that was developed, there are activities and support tools for parents that are in English. So I'm going to go to the site and sort of do a little bit of an orientation first before I actually get into some of the specific resources. So, sorry, I've got to say goodbye to Hélène. I have to get you out of the picture so that I can see my full screen here. So when you do log in, like I said a while ago, I'm going to log out so you see what it looks like when you first come in. So there's that sign in or sign up piece. And that's where you end up with the sign up and all those other phases. Once you have registered, then you just click to sign in. And if you want, you can see that I've already, you know, where you say stay connected or you remember me, you can do that with this so that you can remember your, or you don't have to remember your password every time, and it will bring it up automatically. So here we're at the home page, and that's the little home at the top. The beauty of IDELLO is that you can navigate it completely in English. Again, that's so that it supports you as a parent and supports the kids who are in the process of learning thereof. So, and that's as easy as clicking at the top here. So I went to français, went back to English. So you can navigate the site. However, all of the actual resources, the learning resources and the subtitles, I'll show you how to do that in a second, do remain in French with that main purpose of immersion. That's the whole point. Okay. The other important piece, if you are interested, there is IDELLO Webzine, which is a magazine that's completely online that you can subscribe to, and you will get about every second month. You get the magazine that's completely digital, and it has some additional and themed resources. So maybe if your child, there's a particular theme going on in the classroom, go check if maybe you can see in the archives that there's something that can support and help them with that particular theme. Other piece I wanted to just highlight before we get into specific resources is how to explore, how to find. There are 15,000 resources. That's extremely overwhelming when you first start. And so you can go do some research and refine your research, your search rather, with these filters that are on the left-hand side here. So you can see there's 15,000 resources at the onset. This group is elementary. So as soon as I clicked elementary, oh, we went down to 11,000. If I'm more specific, I don't think there was any kindergarten parents. There was from grade 4 to maybe grade 5. So as soon as I eliminate a few of those, whoop, I'm down another couple of thousand. Then there are subject areas that you can use as refinement. So if you want to click on French as a second language, whoa, there we go. We've gone down to about half. Then you can go on different subject areas. So math, science, there are resources here for most subject areas. There's support for social sciences, for health, for phys ed, and you can also filter according to skills. So as they get a little bit older, sometimes they will be working on projects around citizenship. You've got creativity. There's also some themes that are there. Pardon me. So social emotional learning is very strong during this pandemic time. So there are actual videos and some resources to help explore that. And then there is the FSL CFR levels. So for the most part, I would think your children are at the A level for the most part. And then of course, there's some other additional webinars that you can find out about. So you can see that there's a lot of filters, and the more you filter, the more you become specific, the more you're targeting and getting to what you actually want without getting overwhelmed or frustrated. And then of course you can add a word. So if you're searching for something for animals, okay. And because I'm in English, I can put animals. If you're in French, you would write les animaux, but of course you can see that even if I've written animal, I'm getting les animaux. So it does do that sort of transition between the two languages when you're doing a search. And you can see that there's 487 different videos and different resources that are related to les animaux. So there's quite a bit. Again, what happens too is you have this filter here by the most relevant, or you can filter it by the most recent. And the most recent brings up the sites that have been used or have been accessed most recently. So if you want like the most popular at the time when you're doing your search. Okay. So I'm going to go back to some of the ones that I do want to suggest to you. So there is, like I said, that whole series of à l'écoute, which means to hear, to be listening. And it has these parent tools to help support. So here's one, which is Prince Olivier. There are many series of videos, and you can see as soon as it's part of a series, it will state it immediately here. There's a little bit of a description. Oh, I'm back in French here. Oh no, okay, that's interesting. A lot of them, the description is in English. So you've got a bit of a brief description. Often at the bottom, you will have an idea of the levels that it's appropriate for, the subjects that it might touch upon, and the language. Some of them will also identify that CFR level. So if it's an A1, an introductory, or a little bit more complicated. When you have a video or a resource on this side, and there are things that are available that are connected, that are closely related, or there's a tool to support, you will find it on the right-hand side here. So you can see here, there's something in English, and all of these tools are easily downloadable. You simply click on them. In my case, I'm on a Mac, so it brings it up there. And it gives you a bit of a rundown. It gives you overall expectations. It suggests some ways that you can view it and so on, okay? Some of these are a little bit more pedagogical, and then others are really directed for the parents. Let me go back here. Oh, she's stalling on me. That's not good. For instance, here, we've got a parent sheet. You'll see them here, and they're in English, of course. So this parent sheet sort of gives you an idea of how you can talk your child through before, during, after. So I'll just open it up once again, show you what it might look like. Okay, so this is entitled Prince Olivier Refuses to Wash. So that can be a common struggle with some of our children. And so it talks about why to listen. Let me try and get this a little bit bigger for you. There we go. And it describes it, tells you how long it is, some activity plans. So again, oh boy, this is really jumping, my apologies. And it gives you an idea of before viewing, you know, discuss with the child the importance of washing oneself, that kind of thing. So the child is getting a little bit of an idea of what they're going to be listening to. You could ask your child, oh, do you know, like, what's washing en français? You could prompt them for a couple of those words before. While viewing, this suggests things. So it gives you an overview of how you can support your child before they start listening. Or you can simply let them listen to it. A nice little strategy that's easy for parents to do is just say, hey, as you're listening to it, you tell me 5 words that you heard and teach me those 5 words. So it becomes sort of an interactive thing, easy thing to do. So I'll just, I'll start this video and then I will stop it just to show you a couple of other functionalities that you might want to use. So I don't want to resume.
Venez, mesdames et messieurs, entrez pour fermer. Venez, les plus élégantes, de tout grand. Le prince Olivier n'avait Le matin, la reine Isabelle disait.
So it's pretty simple language. Appropriate. Oh, I don't know if you can determine who that is. Okay, here we go. My apologies. You can see that the language is pretty simple. And what I wanted to highlight was this functionality of this little bonhomme here, this little man. And when you click on that, it allows you to put the subtitles. Of course, once again, everything is en français as far as resources go. So the subtitles you saw a few seconds ago, they are en français. That's very intentional because we do want that total immersion. The other interesting piece is that you can get the video transcript here en français. Oh, my mouse is playing tricks on me. Apologies. And so this also will give the child an idea of what they're going to hear. A lot of times a good strategy for French as an additional language is for children to be able to see the words and then hear them, or at the same time follow through. So that's just available to you so that for your child, or if you're both listening, I know a lot of the parents enjoy trying to learn a little bit of French alongside their children as well. So that that tool allows you to do that. So this is, these are nice short little stories. This whole series is, so it's called Des Belles Histoires de Pommes d'Api. So it has little legends, it has, it grows on the imagination and the fantasia kind of piece of your child's imagination. So that's one of the ones I want to share. And that's the other thing. Within a series, if your child likes something within one of the series, it's really interesting that you have to do a lot more building of the vocabulary when they first listen to them. But the beauty of a series is they have the same introduction, they have the same music, they have sort of the same accent, the same voices, and about the same speed of speech, so that, you know, the first time you might have to do a little bit more building and recognizing, but eventually you're developing that gradual release where your child will go, oh, well, I'm going to go listen to one within the series, and they might be able to better understand it. So the beauty of a series is if a child likes it, then you're growing, you're helping grow their independence and understanding and their comprehension of it. Here's another that's within that series of À l'écoute, and it's a series called Un jour une question. All right, I'm having to move some things again. Un jour une question, very short clips. I just discovered this the other day. I'm so pleased. That description here, I find that I'm getting old and I find it very hard to read. And especially when I'm sharing it like this, I'm going, oh, it's really small. Just this little click and look at how big it gets. That was a big discovery for me a few weeks ago. So this particular video is talking about bees and the role of bees for our environment and for life. And the series Un jour une question, there are over, I believe, so there's 14 pages of them. I think there's like 100 and some little clips. Again, ideal for French as a second language because they're short. And they treat all kinds of questions, everything from, you know, why is the 13th, Friday the 13th, a bad luck day, and so on, to biodiversity, to, as they grow older, things around l'ONU, which is the Nations Unies, the United Nations, sorry. My translation wasn't great there. And so of interest in a lot of fields. So and a lot of them were produced based on questions that children had. And again, for this particular one, there is a little teaching tool. Oops, that's the French one, my apologies. I just saw that it's en anglais, parent sheet, voila. So there's a parent sheet here as well, just to give you a perspective. They're similar in format, where they provide you an opportunity to sort of chat with your child, okay? And why listen, and again, an activity plan. So how do you react when you see a bee coming near you? So this is a very typical topic. A lot of kids are afraid of bees. My daughter's 29, she still freaks out. And so it's one of those topics of interest to children. And it allows you to have a little bit of that discussion. And again, it guides you with before, during, and after. So I'll just give you a little opportunity Now, this particular series of Un jour une question were actually produced in Europe. And so they have been bought by IDELLO, and you'll see in a second, they're actually YouTubes.
À quoi ça sert? Ça veut dire quoi ça? Pourquoi c'est comme ça? C'est où? C'est qui lui?
Un jour, une
Never
question.
mind. Sorry, I apologize. It's another series that's the YouTubes. I'll let you listen to this. You can see it's only 1:42, so it's really quick.
Quoi avons-nous besoin des abeilles? Alerte! Les abeilles sont en danger dans de nombreux endroits du monde. En France, près de 3 colonies sur 10 disparaissent chaque année. Leurs agresseurs sont multiples. Les maladies, les prédateurs qui en raffolent. Ou encore les pesticides, des produits chimiques qui...
So you can see it's that cartoon kind of perspective. I realize it's quick. I realize the accent might take some time to get used to. But again, as children listen to quite a few of them, they sort of get into that. And it's not about understanding each word, especially when you're at that A1 or at the introductory level. It's about getting the gist of the message or some of the details. So if your child's saying, I don't understand all the words, tell them that's okay. That's okay. The whole curriculum of French as a second language since 2013 is more about competencies than deficiencies. Where there was a time where if a child had a text in front of them, oh, underline all the words you don't know, and then go running off to a dictionary to try and figure it out and get them out of the context, didn't make any sense. So now it's more about what do you know? If you look at a text, if you look at something, so even if you looked at those transcripts, look at the words that you do know, so that competency, and then try and build from there and build your understanding and get the context, or as they say in English, the gist. Okay, that's more what we want to encourage our children to do, and that can only build on their proficiency. Okay, let's go on to some more exciting stuff. No, so there's a whole guide here of those sheets, those tools to support. And there's one series in particular. So I'm going to do a search for you right here. So once you have found some of these videos that I'm giving you as interesting, make sure you write down the keywords, and then you just can go type up your keywords up here. So that series that I was just introducing you to is called Là où je dors. It's a huge favorite with teachers and the kids. And basically what Là où je dors means is where, this is my room, this is where I sleep, okay? And so the description is about discovering the rooms of children across the world. And it helps to open their eyes to the reality of young people. And this is very much in the skill set of what we are asking kids to acquire at the beginning. They can describe their family, they can describe their interests, they can describe their own environment. So this is a series of examples, and you've got kids in this series. There's 35 different students, and they range from about 4 or 5. I'm going to show you the youngest here, and to, I think there's like teenagers as well. So within that series, your kids at different levels can be going in and seeing kids that are their own age. There are some Canadians, there are some Native from First Nations students. They're within this project as well. Like you can see that one season, but there's 5 pages of them. So it goes on and on and on. The other interesting thing about this is the intercultural awareness, which is a heavy part of the FSL curriculum. Within each thing, within each domain, I'm talking edu jargon here, within listening, within reading, within writing, there is always some expectations that touch on intercultural awareness. And this series totally touches on that. Again, starts the same way. You'll see, we'll start with the introduction with the young lady, speaks a little bit quicker, but depending on how old the children are, I'll move it ahead and you can see it's very visually rich.
Vas-y! Avance donc! Ah, salut! Félicité! déjà demandé à quoi pouvaient bien ressembler les autres chambres que la tienne? Je t'invite avec moi à venir à leur découverte. Ouais, ici. Aujourd'hui, nous allons découvrir la chambre de Jamal au Maroc. Jamal habite dans la vallée heureuse qui se situe très haut dans les montagnes de la classe marocaine. Vous allez voir que sa chambre est au-dessus de l'étable. Jamal est très habile avec son mulet. En tout cas, pas comme moi.
Move it forward a little bit.
Bon, moi bien.
So it also allows you to travel with your child when we can't do that right now, and let them see different cultures, different countries. Of course, all of them are from La Francophonie because the kids do all speak French. And the interesting piece with that is, once again, is to you can talk to your child about, oh, look, what's different in his room, what's different in yours, and what's the same. So that's where you're working on that cultural piece of, you know, we're all people, you know, we're all global citizens, even more so with everything that's going on now. So it just helps develop a little bit of that empathy and that understanding. So nice series to, you know, once in a while you sit down, they're listening to a little bit of French, and you're expanding your own cultural awareness, which is interesting as well as a family. So this is for the younger ones. So the kids grade 1, 2, 3. Beautiful series called IDELLO-TFO that I'm sure you probably know of. Where I'm clicking on to right now is one where they're really, so maternelle is kindergarten up into grade 1, where they're really working on the phonemes, so the sounds. And so you've got all of the exercise with the letters, and they bring out different words. So there's a lot of exploration of that beginning piece in Mini TFO in this whole series here. There is a lot of other stuff in Mini TFO, and I want to bring you to show you. There is also a little guide that's in English here too, if you're of interest there. So there's a guide that accompanies some of the videos, and it's about nutrition, it's about healthy living. So it's all stuff that we know we want to pass on to our kids. So it's got all kinds of possibilities of nature activities, some song activities, some nutrition. So it does suggest a whole series of things that are related to the actual videos. There is also a more extensive one. Just go here. Oh, no, I'm going back to L'Auge d'Or. I'll just go into Mini TFO so that you can see that. So you're seeing me do these searches, and you can see how easy it is to do. So if I'm just looking for Mini TFO, so you've got, once again, the same team of actors if you want. There's things that are very easy. There's some physical activity that they can do. So if you want them to move around and such, there's a whole slew of them where they've got them dancing, they've got them moving. So I'll just let you hear and see how this goes.
Hey, salut! C'est le temps de bouger! Bouger, bouger, c'est le temps de bouger! Bouger, bouger, c'est le temps de bouger!
bouger avec Louis et moi? Oui. Oh, parfait!
Aujourd'hui, nous allons bouger comme si on était un dinosaure. T'es prêt?
So again, gives you some examples where in the evening, hey, tonight we're going to do some DPA, we're going to do some physical activity. Let's do it à la French. So that makes it fun, makes it easy, and you're exposing them to a little bit of French all at the same time. And you know, if you've got older kids that can do it with their younger siblings, that's an easy thing for them to get into. And Mini TFO is extremely accessible and has a variety of subjects, and it does grow. There's some of them that are a little more advanced, like these are more at the basic level at the A1. See at the bottom here, I was talking about those descriptives. So they really say that's at the introductory level, this particular part of them. There's also very closely related is, where am I going here? There's this series that's all about les syllabes, les sons. So working a little bit more in depth, working a little bit more in depth with sounds. And so exercising, you know, what they might be learning in school, doing some rhyming. This is a little character that appears in a lot of these videos this whole season.
Hey, Louis, you!
J'arrive.
Ouais! Hey, on va jouer à un jeu, d'accord?
Parfait.
Toi, tu dis le début d'un mot et moi, je choisis la fin.
Pourrais-tu me donner un exemple, s'il te plaît?
Ouais. Si tu dis chat, moi je dis pot. Chapeau.
Ah, mais oui.
Si tu dis bas, moi je dis
Tôt.
Ouais, bateau, ça marche.
So you can see that some of the other ones are much more visual, less French, whereas you've got a little bit of a progression. As your kids get a little bit older, they can be taking on different sides of them. I'm just going to, I'm seeing that there's a few things in the chat. I'm about halfway, a little bit more than halfway. So I just wanted to open it up to see if there's any questions, Hélène.
Yeah, there's only 2 questions. Okay. So the first one was, is there benefits to log in as a teacher or as a parent if you have both hats?
Okay.
What do you recommend?
If you can, as a teacher, you would use your board account or your school board's account, email account. What happens as in the teacher portfolio, you have the option to create groups, create activities, a lot more of that pedagogical side of things. You might have access to a little bit more of the videos, but it's more that pedagogical side where you can create a class, you can create a code, you can create activities, and you have access to a little bit more of those pedagogical tools. So it's completely up to you. There's nothing that stops you, that prevents you from creating one for both, where you as the teacher use it as a teacher and or with some of the things that you do with your children, and you can open a parent account and have it accessible to your children, and they know the password to that account, and they can go in and just explore without you necessarily being there. So you can create 2. They have to be 2 different emails though. That's the bottom line. So there's nothing that stops you. It's not an and or. Let's put it that way.
Thank you, Colette. And the other question was how to access à l'écoute. Again, if you could go back a bit to see.
Okay, so you wanted to know just how to get to anything of à l'écoute, like the one in particular that I showed?
Yeah, the one you...
Yeah, sorry. Hi, can I speak? Sorry, I was the one that sent that question. I missed the very first part. Did you? Because I have a DLO is open on my computer, and did you just in the search did you put à l'écoute? Like I missed the very first part.
Yes, you can do that. See, like I'm just putting it in there, and à l'écoute will bring you to a whole bunch of them because there's a whole series of them. These ones, it's bringing you right now to the fish. Oh, no, you're good. So in à l'écoute, it's a huge project. There's a lot of those series that I've been talking about. So I just went à l'écoute. That's an easy way to go. It was Sally that asked that. Sally or Sally? How do you say the name?
Sally, yeah.
Sally, sorry, Sally. So you can just put à l'écoute in the bar, and it will bring you to all of the different series of à l'écoute. And then you can go in. So there's l'âge d'or that I was talking about.
Yes, yes.
Un jour, une question.
That part I got. Yes.
Okay, so there's,
Yes, thank you.
it's a huge project. There's a lot of
Yes,
stuff in there.
it is.
And
Yeah.
this is where you have, which ones? This is where you also will find that guide for parents. So it gives you an idea of what that might look like. So some of those, the fish, some of those little guiding pages that I was showing you a while ago, you'll see them. So that's actually the smart way to go, is to actually do à l'écoute like you just suggested, and then you'll see the array of them, and then you can go dig deeper into them. Right? Do want to show you something before I go any further.
Yeah. There was also a question regarding when you.
Sorry.
Ah?
Go ahead.
Yes, a question about when you register for an account. There is two options. One is free, and the other one costs $3.99 per month. How different are those two platforms?
No. That's new. Did that person just go try and register now?
I don't
Because
know.
it's no longer, it's free for everyone.
It's
Yes,
free.
I'm the one. Hi, Colette. I'm the one who registered. I just tried to register right now,
Yes.
and it gives me the two options. One, it says I have limited access as a parent. If I want to get the full advantage of it, it's $3.99 on a. I'm not sure the exact wording, but it says $3.99 for the first month, and it's a recurring payment. I just want to know the degree of content between those two.
Okay, so I'm totally distraught by that, because it is no longer charged for parents at all. So I'm thinking, I have to go see that. I'm really upset right now. I wish I could ask you to share your screen and show me where you got that. I would, and this is Mr. who was speaking, sorry.
My name is Chris.
Chris, okay. You can click on the one that says $3.99, but you won't be charged. It's free now for parents. So it should be coming across as free.
And my second question to you is, there is also an option for 13-year plus. I guess it's students entering secondary, almost high school. Now, do they have to use their like Dufferin Peel Catholic School Board student ID email, or do they use any email?
It's preferred if they use their school board email. It will cause less conflict, but they can use a Gmail account if they want to.
Okay.
Okay. I'm so upset. I have to write a note about that. Because I was sure that used to be like, it's since January last year that it's free for parents everywhere in Ontario. So I'm going to have to go explore that and make sure that they get rid of that. Can I ask you, Chris, while we're still going, that you actually click on it and see what happens? You're being my tester now. I'm going to have to send you some salary.
Yes, let me try. I think. Oh, let me see whether I can share my screen now. Let me go back and log in. I just exited that.
I'm just curious. Sorry, other parents, but it's a legit question for everyone.
Yes.
Okay, so Sally says she registered last year and it was free. Okay. So you weren't prompted at all, Sally, with this choice, correct?
No, it's completely free.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just curious as to why that would have shown up. That's what I'm wondering. Okay, so John also saw that.
Yes. Well, that's something definitely we will inform.
Okay. All right. So I will definitely follow up with that. But don't hesitate to click on that. You will not be charged. Because if it's telling you you're going to have limited access, that's the way it used to be once upon a time. But it's not like that anymore. So I'm curious. All right. Any other questions before I keep going?
No, go ahead.
Thank you so much for your participation. Wow, the group we're how many now? 27? Wow, okay. So I've gone to IDELLO-TFO. Other thing, I talked about l'Agenda, and there's also a website, which is interesting as well. It's very interactive. So if you're going to explore l'Agenda with your kids, go to that website. So you just go l'Agenda website and it will bring you to this. And then you've got all of the different children, and there's music, and there's a map, so you can do a little bit of exploring of the world. Other great thing, if you're going to be, concentrating on trying to spend some French time together, always about food. When I was in the classroom, it was always about food with me. It was food and music most of the time. And so there is, again, some of these are within TFO, but I like that there's a progression in the complexity. So in this one, in TFO, the series called Miam Miam, Mini Miam, it's healthy, and it's little recipes, and it's things you can do at home. Very, very short videos, and it's mostly visual. So little recipes, you can pick a night, one night a week or one night every 2 weeks. It's international night or it's French night, and we're going to do some kind of recipe. So things you can do very easily. And it just gives you can do a little bit of math. You can talk about what you call measuring utensils in English, en français. And it's little things that you can put together and share. That one's a very, like I said, the more basic level. And then this one gets a little more complicated. You've got les kebabs, and there's just, this is the series that has been bought, and they are YouTubes. I knew there was some somewhere. And when you have some of these that do come from YouTube, and they'll be identified by this, and you will recognize the little red, white arrow on the red. You do have that possibility to slow it down if you want to, right? But again, this is a little more sophisticated. There's a little more talking.
Il te faudra une pomme, du raisin, des abricots secs.
So you can see, very progressive, nice and slow. Creating and making food is very authentic, and French as a second language is very much the whole curriculum, and the way that we want the children to acquire the language is through authentic tasks. And what's more authentic than making food? We all need to do that for our lives. If you travel, you will probably be, ordering food. So these are nice little clips that will be providing you with an opportunity to share a meal and share in doing it together, and giving them that French terminology going forward. So nice activity. This one's cute. It's a cartoon, and les ours gourmands is the gourmand. Oh my God, in English. Gourmand. Various like to eat a lot. Les ours gourmands. So bears that like to eat a lot. And so they've got the recipes, and it's the bears that are introducing it.
Les recettes des ours gourmands. Le porridge aux myrtilles.
Quelle recette du livre de cuisine des ours gourmands allons-nous bien pouvoir préparer aujourd'hui?
J'ai envie de manger quelque chose de sucré. Tu peux me trouver ça?
Voyons voir. Du porridge aux myrtilles?
Youpi, super idée!
So you can see, again, with the French accent, exposing your child to different accents as well. And if they're going to be traveling, they're going to have to get used to different accents as well. So nice little activity. You can repeat it. The whole deal with not slowing down videos and not having access to that for everything within IDELLO is that I'm going back to the idea that we want authentic situations where a child can understand and survive in the language. And in real life, people aren't going to talk like this. So that's why we don't necessarily have that slowing down. What we encourage as a strategy is repetition. So like I said a while ago, the first time you listen, oh, did you hear 5 words? And the strategy of the images and relating it to what they do know, their prior knowledge, that's all those strategies that we prefer they use rather than slowing it down to keep them immersed in the actual language. Already talked about that one. This is another sort of division of mini TFO. It's mini-ver for the kids that are a little bit older, because you'll see still entertaining, but a little bit more developed in language. So you're moving up in, and it's again the same characters, and there's different situations in life. So again, they So again, the language is a little bit more developed than some of the ones I showed you before. And there's all kinds of different circumstances. You can go get ideas for school projects in here. They talk about, sore teeth. They talk about some little mystery. There's always a little mystery, or there's something that happens, a problem that needs to be solved. That too is very indicative of what they do in the classroom. There's usually a problem to be solved, an authentic situation. So this gives them some of those examples and provides them with, again, if they're just listening to one show of that every once in a while, they're just hearing more French. Les fondamentaux is exactly that, the fundamentals. It's a nice little series that helps support. So there's several seasons, and each season, oh, sorry, it's jumping. Season 1 is more about grammatical and language supports. So they're little characters, but they review in a fun way some of the language pieces. So for instance, l'accord des adjectifs, so adjectives, how do you make them work? Le nom propre, le nom commun. So they're, just so that you see, they're little characters, it makes it amusing, but it does that review of some of the grammar.
Tiens, laissez la porte. Ah, qui est là? Personne? Amélie! Je sais. Ces mots sont des noms. Et on ne met pas de petits mots devant Amélie parce que c'est une personne. Mais Amélie...
So this is the whole idea of le and la, the masculines, and in front of common names, but not in front of proper names. So you can see that there's sort of that support and that review of some of those rules. Season 2 is about math support. Season 3 is more about science. So it explores in that kind of fun way some concepts. And season 4 is more about mental health, the social emotional learning. So accepting one another, getting to know other people, sharing when you're talking, so speaking and listening and that kind of thing. So nice little series to have in your back pocket. If your child says, oh, I don't remember les adjectifs or whatever, well, this is a fun way to go review some of that. This is just a fun series, Renette, around animals. Most curriculums will go through it. So c'est les devinettes de Renette, which is guessing. And you can, with your child, go along, although you can see it, so you want to kind of have it ahead of time. And the little frog, which is Renette, describes features of an animal, and they create them with Play-Doh, and then you get to guess what it is before the frog reveals what it is at the end. Nice little activity if you've got some Play-Doh, and that they can be playing with it and trying to imagine and put the animal together based on the description. So just a little bit of this.
Écoute bien ma devinette. Cette année, animal a une tête toute ronde, avec 4 fois 2 yeux pour voir dans toutes les directions. Il a aussi des antennes sur le crâne. Et une bouche avec 2 crochets pointus. Cet animal a un gros ventre. Il n'a pas de squelette, mais une peau très dure qui le protège. Il a 4 paires de pattes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 et 8.
So you get the idea. They make it out of plasticine, and at the end, they reveal that it's actually a spider. So again, fun way. You can do a little bit of art and then get the child to understand. Again, pretty quick for the younger kids. More repetition is required. Or you can do it one night where they do one part of it and you stop it there. You can segment it. Doesn't say you have to do it all in the same night. This is for the beginning writers, just to allow them. There's a little series here of just how to do the letters. Again, fun, nice little animated way to practice their writing. It's not that it's more French than any others. It's basically just a visual, but it's allowing them to practice their letters. Letter, they're indicating it there, show them how to do it, and then the child can practice. Basically, that's all it is. So instead of you saying, practice your letter, hey, pop on this video, try and do that. Here's the page, let's try and do our letters. It's just an easy little one. On IDELLO, there's many, the livre numérique is digital books. And they emphasize, some of them emphasize different phonemes, so different sounds. So this one in particular is the phoneme on, and it's un mouton. So you've got the book where you have the reading here. You can either have it read, so there's that narration if you put the sound on. Oops, sorry. We started out here.
Fanfaron le mouton crie. Je ne suis pas blanc, je ne suis pas noir.
And if you prefer no sound, the child can read on their own if they get to that point. So once again, that beauty of the repetition, if they like the book, the first couple of times they listen to it, you can listen along with them, or they can get to the point where they practice enough, and then there's a little bit of video and such. So there's a couple of them for different phonemes. And the other piece to that is there's a song here and it's karaoke. And I'm going to put down my sound because I don't know why the songs are like super loud.
C'est un grand bruit, le bruit de la sirène. Quand quelqu'un crie au secours, le policier accourt.
So again, they getting used to that. This is for the kids that are a little bit older that might be able to read some of the words. I know that my kids, when they learned to read at one point, they just knew the words by heart because we would repeat some of the books. So there's a couple of others here for different phonemes. So that's something that you can explore together as well.
There was a question, Colette, regarding is it worthwhile to sometimes have French subtitles visible as children watch videos?
Absolutely. That was that's a great question. And I can't remember when we did the other series with the parents with you, Canadian Parents for French. That was definitely one of the things that teachers suggested to parents. If you've got, for instance, the Disney Channel, and your children are quite familiar with the story of one, and I don't know about you, but again, my daughter's 29 now and she still has favorite Disney movies that she's listened to I don't know how many times. And so if they do have a favorite, that's a brilliant way to have them hear it in French or have the French subtitles if they can. That's a beautiful way to expose them to some developing that listening. Definitely a good idea definitely a good idea.
Right, yeah. And there was a question also about giving some scoop about Bookily with someone who is already a user of this portal and who would like to know some new tips. So I put on the chat the next workshop that we'll have in June 2nd, that is specifically with the new version of Bookily.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
can register.
It's funny because I was ending with a slide just saying, oh, this is what we're going to do on June 2nd. So definitely, I will be going through how to open the account and how to use it and talking about the different levels and everything on June 2nd. So by all means, we'll explore that in depth at that time. So thank you for that question. Anything else before I just finish off? Oh, you put the registration and everything. Wow,
yes.
You're good. This is another series of digital books, and they're a little bit, you can see the child looks a little bit older, so that gets into rhymes, because that too is very much about, you can't read until you've got sort of those phonemes down pat. And there's actually only 36 phonemes en français. And somebody today told me, you know, a lot of people will perceive that French is more difficult as a language. I think it's just different. And somebody was saying that in English, there's actually 40 something. So there's actually more phonemes to master in English than there is in français. So I thought that was an interesting fact. So these books accentuate those rhymes. So works on the phonemes once again. La Série 5 is a beautiful series. Again, the cinematography. So if your kids like animals, if you like the wonders of the world, nice short videos, 5 facts about different animals, different sites, transportation, and countries, different countries. So again, another thing that I like a great deal is traveling. And because we can't do much of that right now, in a very short clip, again, oh, Friday night, let's do our 5 minutes, or let's find out about something. The 5 faits surprenants. And so that you'll see it's very easy to follow.
Animaux. 5 découvertes surprenantes au sujet des singes. 1. Les singes ont de la fourrure, une longue queue, de longs bras, des pattes et des doigts encore plus longs, et de gros cerveaux.
Okay, sorry, I just realized the time. So again, this beautiful series, cinematography is just absolutely lovely. So something that you can share. And there's our little Bookily. So just wanted to let you know that I will be exploring that in greater details. And this is, Bookily is an app that too is free, and it's about readers. So come and join us on the 2nd, and we'll explore that in greater depth. I want to leave you with my email address here. If you want some further questions, or if there's something that dawns on you after we've left the webinar, by all means, send me a little email and refer to, you know, I was at the CPF session on the 19th, and I want more information about this, or if you want my slide deck, whatever the case may be, feel free to send me a little note. I'm going to stop sharing. I am on Twitter through IDELLO, yes. Oh my God, now you've got me. Okay, I will share them through Hélène afterwards. Who's asking me this? Okay, you know, it's really bad. It's because I've got one for my board and I've got one for something else. So I just have to, I never know. There's one that's Fraser 10 and the other ones I'm not sure of anymore. But I will have, I'll get your email and I'll send it to you. Is it Shyama? I don't want to say your name improperly, sorry. It's a pretty name. I just don't want to say it wrong.
Yes.
Perfect. I will send that to you. Any other questions before I leave everyone? Again, thank you so much, for the huge participation. It's really admirable. It's really it's really impressive.
And there were great questions. Thank you for your engaged participation too.
Yes, yes. Sure, Nicole, you can email me so that I better understand exactly what you mean. Good.
And please, if you can take a few minutes to fill up the form about the feedback about tonight, it will be always helpful for us to know your impressions and your suggestions. So I put it on the chat, but I may put it again because
yes, I was going to suggest that because it's scrolled
Very
up now, right?
Oops.
Well, thank you, everyone.
Everybody.
And for those who are leaving and aren't sticking around for a few minutes, I wish you good luck, bon courage, as we say en français. Gardez espoir et gardez santé, which is remain hopeful and remain healthy. Stay well during this difficult time.
Yes. And thank you, Colette. This is a wonderful, so many resources, so many different aspects. If you feel like doing some cooking, doing some activities, traveling, singing, there's so many options. It's really wonderful. And also, I'd like to say that this is part of our partnership with Canadian Parents for French Ontario and TFO IDELLO. And it's really, there's so many choices, and the cultural aspect, I think it's so rich too. So I wish everybody to have fun with those resources and explore, and this, you cannot be bored with it. There's so many choices.
It's true. All right. Oh, Sally's asking where the recording is going to be.
I'm going to stop it now.
So make sure you do that, France, if you go into those things that that appealed to you this evening. Make sure that you bookmark them or tu les mets dans tes favoris and you don't have to keep looking for them every time.
Oh, absolument. Merci beaucoup. Bonne soirée.
Merci.
Bonne soirée à vous aussi.
There's another question. Is there ever a call of materials to remove things that are outdated, like in the school libraries?
Is there ever a I'm not sure I understand, Nicole, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's Nicole or Nicole. I don't want to insult you either.
You can speak directly if you would like to unmute, Nicole.
Élimine les ressources.
Bonjour, madame. Je voudrais bien savoir si on n'a jamais enlevé des vidéos, des matériaux de livres qui sont peut-être mal interprétés ou qui ont peut-être des matériaux qui ne sont plus à l'actualité, au courant.
Oui, je sais qu'ils font une revue quand même de façon assez régulière.
Oui.
Je sais que il y a quand même eu des discussions au niveau de culturally responsive aussi.
Ah oui, oui. Okay.
Parce qu'il y a beaucoup de vidéos. Il y a même toute la série de Champlain.
Oui.
Et puis, je sais qu'il y a eu des commentaires par rapport à ça cette année. Alors, je sais qu'il y a quand même des évaluations qui se font. Des fois, des raisons pour lesquelles le matériel va être enlevé, c'est parce que les permissions, avec ceux qui les ont publiés en premier, vous avez vu, il y en a que c'est de YouTube, il y en a que c'est d'autres compagnies qu'on va acheter. Et puis, ces permis-là échouent. Alors, des fois, ça, c'est la raison aussi.
Oui.
Mais est-ce que vous aviez quelque chose en particulier auquel vous pensiez?
Non, parce que j'enseigne 4e, 5e immersion. Il y a des ressources que j'aime utiliser. Et maintenant que je suis au courant du fait qu'il existe comme bookmark, je désire garder certaines choses dans une collection. Mais autre question, si IDELLO détermine qu'il y a certaines choses à éliminer, est-ce qu'on va recevoir comme courriel, message pour indiquer que cette ressource n'existe plus? Parce que ça peut influencer comment j'organise une unité de recherche.
Oui, je comprends. Je sais que d'habitude, par le passé, je sais que l'année passée, on avait même tout établi, quand le COVID a commencé, on avait établi toute une série de thématiques appelées camp famille. Oui. Et puis, quand c'était pour échouer, il y avait une annonce qui disait « Dès le 31 mars, ce ne sera plus disponible. »
OK.
Alors, je ne pense pas qu'il vous envoie un courriel individuel, mais à l'intérieur de la plateforme, autant que possible, il essaie d'aviser les gens.
OK. Merci.
Une très bonne question.
Merci. je suis vraiment désolée que j'ai manqué les instructions comment accéder à Petite Histoire comme Fanfaron le Mouton, je m'excuse, ou la série de livres digital parce que j'étais en train de travailler avec mon fils qui n'a pas fait tous ses devoirs.
Ben, je peux prendre une autre minute puis le faire, là, madame. C'est pas grave.
Pour le vrai? Oh, c'est
Oui,
vraiment
oui.
gentil. Merci.
Je veux juste aller pour une marche après, alors pourvu que les moustiques ne sont pas sortis, c'est beau.
Merci, c'est vraiment gentil. Je l'apprécie énormément.
Ah, il n'y a rien là. Il n'y a rien là.
C'est beaucoup plus vite qu'envoyer courriel.
Oui, exact. Il n'y a rien là. Alors, moi, vraiment, là, je mettrais juste livre numérique. Ah, je suis en anglais. Regarde, ça dit digital books, là. Mais.
Ah oui.
Hop, voilà. Qu'est-ce qui est arrivé là? Pardon. Je recommence. Ça, c'est un désastre.
Oui.
Et là, vous allez...
Ah, ça, c'est super. Parce que ce moment, mes élèves s'ennuient de Raz Kids et pour eux, c'est... Donc, autre chose de IDELLO. Et j'ai conseillé à tout le monde de demander à leurs parents d'ouvrir un compte IDELLO quand on a fermé les écoles au mois de janvier, février.
Oui.
Mais je ne sais pas si le monde l'a fait ou non.
Ah, OK. Je peux vous demander avec quel conseil vous êtes?
Niagara.
OK.
Et j'ai déjà assisté à un atelier comme il y a 6 mois, mais j'oubliais beaucoup de choses.
Oui, bien c'est ça. Puis à moins que vous vous en servez, c'est comme n'importe quoi, c'est comme une langue.
Oui.
Si vous n'en servez pas souvent, on perd le fil, hein?
Exact. Moi, j'adore utiliser une série de devinettes parce que nous avons passé beaucoup de temps cette année à l'étude comment comprendre, comment écouter pour comprendre, qu'est-ce qu'on fait exactement. Donc, pour moi, on fait toujours l'activité avec l'écoute 3 fois. Avant d'écouter la première fois, on regarde le titre, puis on fait tout ensemble une liste de vocabulaire pour activer le schéma, puis on écoute la première fois, on ajoute encore des mots qu'on a entendus, puis deuxième fois, on essaie de faire des devinettes ou même ajouter des phrases complètes que nous avons compris. Puis troisième fois, je demande à tout le monde de faire leur devine.
OK. Bon. Et puis,
alors, comment arriver aux histoires? Comme Fanfaron le Menton?
Voilà. Donc,
le
Digital
mouton,
Books ici. Il y a cette série-là. Il y a Fanfaron. Il y a le pluriel des noms. Il y a la poupée.
Alors, c'est pour chaque livre qu'on puisse demander à l'ordi de lire pour nous au lieu de juste avoir les lives lire.
Oui. Alors, vous l'ouvrez comme ça. Vous avez la lecture, vous avez la petite chanson.
Ah, OK. Super. Parce que même à 4e année, il y a des élèves qui ne savent pas comment prononcer des mots.
Absolument. Ah bien, vous allez adorer Bookily parce que Bookily, ça permet de faire la narration.
Oui.
Et puis, il y a des petites questions de compréhension à la fin. Ou ils peuvent aller solo et le lire eux-mêmes, mais s'ils sont pris, il y a une petite oreille, puis là, ils peuvent cliquer sur l'oreille, puis la narration va se faire pour eux. Okay. Juste de cette phrase-là ou juste de cette page-là.
OK.
Alors, il y a l'appui avec ça. Et puis, ben, là, c'est pas actif encore. Là, je vais retourner. Là, je vous perds à tout bout de champ. OK. Vous n'avez pas votre caméra d'ailleurs. OK. Vous allez être aussi capable d'enregistrer. L'enfant peut s'enregistrer à lire.
Ah oui.
Et ça reste tout dans le tableau de bord de l'enseignant.
Et, OK. Alors, le professeur peut créer toute une liste pour la classe? OK.
Yeah. Ouais, vous allez voir, c'est facile. C'est facile. Il crée un profil pour chaque enfant, son nom, l'année, that's it. Puis là, vous avez un code de classe. Vous pouvez faire ça. Vous pouvez faire ça, excuse. Vous pouvez faire ça aussi dans IDELLO. Hein? On peut ouvrir des groupes, créer des activités. Il y a plein de choses que vous pouvez faire dans IDELLO aussi.
Ah, formidable. Je dois explorer encore plus. OK, je suis vraiment appréciée avec le temps que vous m'avez offert ce soir. Merci, merci.
De rien, ça me fait plaisir. Bonne soirée.
Bonne soirée à vous.
Merci.
OK. Alors, toi, tu as enregistré, alors c'est sur ton ordi. Tu es correct avec ça?
Alors, attends, je vais arrêter.